All right, welcome back, everyone. Just to give you a heads up, the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting is coming up in November. In fact, it's the very beginning of November, November 1st through 3rd. It's in Austin, Texas, which I'm excited to be going back to Austin. And today I wanted to continue to give you a chance to hear from the fantastic lineup of speakers that will really make this a must attend conference. So if you haven't heard about it before, it's the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting, and it's the business conference for entrepreneur architects. In fact, it's the first ever live conference that's dedicated just to small firm entrepreneur architects. And I think that's really exciting. So I started this live stream series a little over a month ago, I guess. And I did it because I wanted to introduce to you all of our speakers. And now I'm bringing them all back around. You a month ago, maybe you got a little bit of an introduction to a speaker. Now I'm bringing them back to give you a little bit of a teaser. I'm not going to give away too much because you need to go to Austin. You need to join us in Austin to hear it all. But I want to give you a little bit. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Jeff Eccles. I'm the Vice President of Community Development at EntreArchitect. It's the largest worldwide community of entrepreneur architects. I'm also the host of Context and Clarity Live, and I have the pleasure of talking to today's guest, not only about a month ago, but today and in a couple of weeks, I think it is, on Context and Clarity Live. So we're just hanging out for about 2 months here. And then again, fast forwarding to November. So to continue this series today, I'm joined by, like I said, someone I've really enjoyed getting to know, and someone that, if you're like me, you could benefit from knowing. So let me introduce to you Joyce Marter. She's an entrepreneur, psychotherapist, the author of The Financial Mindset Fix, and she'll deliver one of the keynotes at the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting. Joyce, welcome back, and thanks for joining me again today.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Happy to be with you again. I'm excited for the conference. It's going to be awesome. I love Austin.
Excellent. I've got to check one thing. Sorry about that.
No worries.
My sound has been problematic. So for those of you that are out there listening, hopefully you can hear Joyce. Joyce, can you give me a little sound check real quick?
Hi, Jeff. How are you? I'm a
I can't
therapist.
hear
I
you.
can help with a lot of problems, but not sound. So
Okay,
sorry about
I
that.
cannot hear you. All right. So anybody that's out there in our audience, can you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Can you hear Joyce? Okay. Jessica, welcome back from LA, Jessica, by the way. So thanks for that. I'm going to try to change something here real quickly. This is the joy of doing live stream. Uh, guess it's bad when the host can't hear the guest. How about now?
Does this help, Jeff?
I can hear you.
Fantastic. I changed my microphone as well. So I said I can fix a lot of problems as a therapist, but not sound. So
Yeah,
it's out.
yeah. That's the crazy thing about all of this. We as you know, we do this all the time, and we just don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work, and sometimes the technology doesn't play well with us. So thanks for hanging in there, Jessica. Thanks for the heads up, and that's also a good reminder that if you are in a Facebook group right now, we're streaming this out live to Facebook and LinkedIn and all sorts of platforms. But if you're on Facebook right now and you say, "Hey, I'm commenting, but my comments aren't showing up," then there's one simple reason for that. It's because you're in a private Facebook group, and Facebook has these privacy policies, which is fantastic. You can give Facebook permission to talk to Restream, which is the platform that Joyce and I are on right now. Just type chat.restream.io/FB, like Facebook, into your browser window. Open a different tab so you don't lose us, but you can type that into your browser window, and that should solve all the problems. Your comment should show up. We should be able to see your name and your likeness and all of those things, and you should show up right here in the conversation with us. We love to have you join us, ask questions, make comments, etc. So getting that out of the way, again, we'll see where the technology takes us today. But Joyce, again, thanks for joining us. Glad to have you here again. We did this last time, back in August, I think it was. We learned a little bit about you, and I gave a one sentence introduction of who you are and what you do. But um, why don't you give us a little bit of a recap? What do you do? Why do you do it? What are you passionate about?
Well, I am super passionate about being a therapist. I have found my work emotionally, relationally, and spiritually rewarding. It has been such a high honor to counsel now tens of thousands of clients. And my favorite thing is to mirror back to clients what is beautiful and amazing and unique and special about them, and really empower them to live a greater life personally, professionally, and financially. And you mentioned that I'm an entrepreneur, and I became really interested in the psychology of money because I noticed as my clients started making progress in therapy, they started to earn more money. They got raises, promotions, started their own businesses, and started to financially succeed. And I was like, how can I do that? This is amazing. And I realized it's because we're always working in therapy on our relationship with ourselves. And when we embrace our self worth, our net worth increases because we put ourselves out in the world differently with greater confidence and assertiveness and negotiation. We're willing to expand our comfort zones and get over perfectionism and imposter syndrome and other aspects of ego. So I love sharing with small businesses in any different industry through my trainings. I give tons of keynotes and corporate trainings, coaching services, digital courses, you name it. I just really enjoy believing in people and helping them get out of their own way. So, in my keynote, which is called Build Your Mental Wealth, which is really having both mental health and financial wealth and leveraging psychology to make your business more successful. And this isn't about greed. My philosophy is very much that when we have more and we succeed, we can hire more people. We can have internships. We can be philanthropists. So it's about being part of the greater good.
I love that. And so Joyce and I were talking before we went live about the fact that we talk within the EntreArchitect community and on context and clarity and all the other outlets that we have, in our community. We can talk until we're blue in the face about invoicing or profit first, which is a fantastic book by Mike
I
McCallowitz, by
love
the
that
way.
book. It's an awesome book.
It is. It really is. And there are a lot of tools at our disposal. Um, Maybe I'll say on the functional side of the finances, the invoicing and everything else. But one of the things that we've talked about, maybe for as much as 9 months now, our planning team for context and clarity, is how do we find someone, or who can we find that will talk about the mindset side of this? Because um, and as you were saying that, you were talking about um, the confidence and everything else. We talk about growth mindset versus fixed mindset a lot as well. We
Yes.
talk about the fact that you as an entrepreneur architect, or entrepreneur anything for that matter, as a business owner, you get to decide. We'll talk about growth a lot, but you get to decide what that means. Does that mean putting more people in the office, or larger contracts, or whatever it is? So I love that you come from that point of view. This isn't greed. This is about accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish, and it's oftentimes that's bigger than you, but it wraps back around to this mindset. So I'm fascinated by what you're saying, and I love what you're saying all at the same time.
I'm so glad. And it really is about mindset because we set our own ceilings with self limiting beliefs. And financial management, both personally and professionally, really isn't rocket science. We know what we should do, but our psychology makes it difficult.
Mhm.
fear-based thinking, catastrophic thinking, scarcity mindset. So shifting to a mindset of abundance and really expanding your vision. And again, believing in yourself, silencing that inner critic, and using techniques, proven techniques from psychology, like cognitive behavioral therapy, to shift your thinking from negative and fear based to positive,
Yeah,
and to apply mindfulness to have that growth mindset and to weather the storm of setbacks. Because any entrepreneur, myself included, is going to experience setbacks and failure. And it's about getting back up and having
right.
resilience both mentally and financially.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. That reminds me, I bring this up every once in a while, but um, during COVID, I made a new friend online. And his name is Matthew Ray Scott. We're a lot of the things that we do are very similar, but he works with doctors and medical device manufacturers and representatives. So he has a different community, but we do a lot of the same things. Matthew's experience is very different than mine. He comes from a military background, some psyops, and some other things. But he told me the story one time about I guess it was the night before his first combat experience. This
Wow.
may sound kind of weird, in this context, but it really, when he told me, and again, I have no experience like that, but when he relayed this story to me, I said, "That's it. That is exactly what we need to have, and what a great example in a context that hopefully a lot of us don't ever have to experience." But he's on the eve of his first combat experience, and his commanding officer comes to him and he says, Matthew, I know what we're going on into is unfamiliar to you. And he says, you're gonna feel some things, right? You're gonna have some emotions, and your body is and your mind are gonna tell you some things and make you want to do some things. He says, basically, you're gonna have three different options, or three different desires maybe. And one of those is, when things start to go down, you're gonna want to run, right?
Mhm.
And as a military officer, and you're here to do a job, etc., it's not really an option. And it's also not a safe option, because if you're running away from this, you can't see what's coming. You can't see what's going on behind you. Okay,
Correct.
that makes a lot of sense. He says the second thing you may want to do is just kind of hunker down and wait for this all to blow over or to pass. He says, again, as in your position, you can't, right? That's that you're here to do a job, and it's not that, and it's also not safe, because at that point you're not defending yourself, you're not doing anything, you're just waiting for something to happen to you. And he says, ironically, the safest thing for you to do is to actually run towards the sound of gunfire, is, I think, is the way he related it, which shocks a lot of us. But he says that way you're moving forward. You have the ability to see what's unfolding in front of you, and you have the ability to adjust to what's happening in front of you to keep yourself safe and accomplish your mission and all those things. And when Matthew told me that, I thought, wow, what an incredible story. Number one, but number two, what a fantastic analogy to what we all face, not only in business but in our personal lives, etc. And it's an illustration, I guess, in a way, of growth versus fixed mindset, or the different labels that we want to apply. But it sounds like what you're talking about is very similar in a way.
Yes, I think that's a great story about fight, flight, or freeze, which those are our
Yeah.
primal
Yep.
responses to danger. And in business, we experience danger. And in your friend's story, fighting was an appropriate response. But for us in business, it may not always be. We do need to
Right.
stand up, we need to engage, we need to be fearless, we need to have courage, we need to be resilient, but we also need to facilitate equanimity, which is mental calmness in a
Yes.
storm like that, so that we can be conscious and clear and responsive rather than emotionally reactive. And I can think of a time where I thought my business was in real danger. I thought, in big trouble with an insurance company. And I had to face a very difficult conversation. I had a snafu with my billing, and they called me and said, "Hey, Joyce, you had 48 sessions on Monday, and we need to talk." It looked like fraud because a lot of my
Oh,
therapists
wow.
that worked for me were getting billed in a way that it looked like I was seeing the clients, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
But facing that conversation and being professional and having integrity and ownership and taking responsibility, we worked through it and they corrected the issue. And had I lawyered up and fought with them, or had I shrunk back and resigned from the panel, it would have been very costly to my business. So
Hmm.
we need the mental skills to move through really scary challenges sometimes in business. And that's what I love to teach and inspire people through my talks. And I provide tons of resources. I provide a landing page with tons of takeaways, and of course, takeaways from my book, and really hope to help people. I want people to grow their businesses, have work-life balance, be happy, have supported, connected relationships. And it really fills my cup. That's why I do what I do.
That's awesome. And that's why you align so well with what we do here at EntreArchitect and what we aspire to through our context and clarity conversations as well, right? Um, that's what it's all about. I think we have a community. Mark R. LePage, the founder of EntreArchitect, and I were having a conversation, I think on Friday, and talking about the people that make up this community, right? They're architects, certainly. Um, but what is it? What's the common thread that makes um, that ties these architects together? Like I said, it's a worldwide community. On any given day, we may, excuse me, we may have somebody in Anaheim, California, and somebody in Australia on the call at the same time, which is fantastic. So, what is it that ties all these together? And the idea of being an entrepreneur, but all those things that you just said, the ability to be happy and fulfilling practice and all of these things. I think the common thread for a lot of the the architects in our community are people that, one, certainly want to be professional, certainly want to practice, certainly want to build their businesses, but want to do it in their way, right? In the way that's most fulfilling to them, their families, their clients, et cetera. So I love where you're coming from. When you're talking about this and the mindset piece of it, I think it's going to be extremely powerful. Um, as we think, let's see, November 2nd is what, about 6 weeks away, something like that. As we think ahead to the beginning of November and the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting, what is something, and I like giving assignments. We talked about teaching a minute ago. I like giving assignments. So, what is something that the folks that are going to join us in Austin, that are going to attend the conference, that are going to engage in this talk with you, what's something that they can do to prepare or keep in mind as they start thinking about, hey, I'm going to listen to Joyce, I'm going to learn from Joyce. What do they need to do to prepare themselves for your talk?
Well, I would suggest two kind of opposite assignments.
Okay.
One would be to be mindful of your self talk and notice when you say, I can't, I won't, I don't, I'm not. And notice how
Interesting.
often that happens. So you are closing doors. When you
Hmm.
say, that's not possible, I can't do that, that won't happen. And just notice it. You don't have to change it yet. I'm going to change that for you. And then
Very
the
good.
other thing I'd like you to think about is, imagine if you had a magic wand and you're allowed to be as grandiose as you want to be. What would you like your life to look like? And aim big. So, what would you like your practice to look like? Your home, your family, your fitness, your lifestyle, your hobbies, and the sky's the limit. So just begin to imagine that. And if you notice that you're making it smaller, just notice that. And then we're going to really work at blowing off the ceiling and blowing off the lid and inspiring you and helping you get out of your own way and really creating a life of abundance, personally, professionally, and financially.
I love that. I love that. And again, I say this a lot when we're in our context and clarity conversations. I raise my hand, right? I'm not above any of this. I'm not immune to any of this. I struggle from all of the things that everybody else struggles from, and I hate it when we are the ones that are holding ourselves back. Not however you want to say that, not living up to our own potential and all those things because of all of those things. And I love that analogy. Hey, these are the doors that you're closing. That's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to your talk and again, I think it's in 2 weeks. You'll be on Context and Clarity Live, so we'll have more of this conversation. But for anybody that's out there, go to entrearchitect.com/annual meeting, and let me see. I think I've got a caption for this. Um, There it is, down in the lower left right now. Go to entrearchitect.com/annual meeting. You find out how to sign up, how to register for this conference. You can find out more about Joyce and her talk and all the other speakers as well. But this is exciting. It's exciting, number one, because we can get together post COVID, if that's what we call this time period that we're in now, but we can get together in person with other human beings in a small scale conference that's tailored just for you, and bring to you some of the best speakers that we could possibly gather up to help you build a stronger business and help you practice in the way that you want to practice. I know that there are a lot of people out there that have started their own firms and since COVID began for a lot of reasons, right? And we can imagine what all those are. But I think that thread is that a lot of the people in our community that are practicing architecture are doing so in this way because there had to be a better way. There must have been something that they could do, and they are practicing in the way that they want to practice. And this conference is designed to help you figure those things out. You're struggling with something. I know you are because I am. There's always something, right, that we need to fix. Um, this conference is designed to help you with that. And if it's financial mindset, Joyce is exactly the speaker for you. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love this conversation with Joyce. Um, she is, like I said, she's an entrepreneur, a psychotherapist, and the author of the Financial Mindset Fix. She's delivering one of the keynotes um, at the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting in Austin, November 1st through 3rd. Sit in on this. Learn how improving your mental health can promote your financial wealth. I'm excited for this. If you're an architect that wants to learn about building a business that allows you to practice in your own way, this is the conference for you. Again, the URL is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Check that out, entrearchitect.com/annual meeting for more information. Joyce, again, thanks. I really appreciate you joining me, taking more time out. We're going to be buddies by the time this is over.
We're already buddies, Jeff. What are you talking about? So, yeah, I look forward to seeing you in Austin for sure.
I likewise, yeah. It's this one of the amazing things about everything that's gone on in the past 2.5 years, and we found this out about a year ago, I guess, when we had Ecclestock. Um, you can walk into a room of strangers and feel like you're in a room of old friends because of things like this, because of the technology that we're connecting through right now. So I'm looking forward to walking into the room and meeting for the first time my longtime friend Joyce Marter. So Joyce, thanks a lot. I really
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to have you here. And Scott and Jessica, Scott, I see you in San Francisco. We got the West Coast on the line with us today. Awesome. Great to have both of you joining us, and anybody that's joining in the future. These all of these conversations are recorded in the various platforms where they're streaming out to right now. So, thanks a lot for joining us. Again, Joyce, thank you. And remember, November 1st through 3rd in Austin, Texas, the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting. It's a conference just for small firm entrepreneur architects just like you. So thanks for joining us. Joyce is going to be there. You
I
need to
can't
be there to
wait.
hear her talk. Excellent. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again soon for another Meet the Speaker preview, or to the preview section of this now, previewing the talks that we're going to hear in Austin. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again sometime soon.